Most men guess what women want. A few ask, but almost no one takes the time to study it, to observe it, to test it in real life and strip away the noise. I spent 3 months doing exactly that, watching, listening, reading between the lines. And what I found wasn't what I expected. It wasn't about looks, money, or even charm. What women want runs deeper, much deeper, and it has more to do with how you make them feel than what you offer them. This isn't about manipulation, it's about awareness, because once you understand the emotional patterns, the hidden tests, and the psychological signals women respond to, you stop chasing, you start leading, you start showing up in a way that's rare. Quiet confidence, emotional clarity, direction. These are the traits they're pulled to, even if they can't always explain why. Here's your question of the day. What's something you thought women wanted until you realized it wasn't true at all? Drop it in the comments. And if you're here to actually learn, not just scroll, type valor below. Let's get into what I found, unfiltered, real, and backed by experience. What women crave more than attention, compliments, or gifts is certainty. Not just in your words, but in your presence, in your direction, in your ability to move forward with or without her. Certainty is rare because most men are waiting to be chosen before they commit to a path. But the man who's already walking his path, who doesn't pause for approval, that's the man who quietly commands attention. Here's the twist. Certainty only works if it comes from independence. If you're offering her stability because you want to keep her close, she'll sense the need underneath. And that need kills polarity. Women feel safest and most attracted to the man who is self-led. The man who knows what he wants but doesn't lose his balance if she hesitates. He doesn't negotiate his standards just to earn love. That kind of certainty. It's not just attractive, it's grounding. During my research, one theme kept repeating. Women are drawn to men who don't flinch, not because they're cold, but because they're centered. She wants to feel your clarity, but only if it doesn't depend on her response. That's the paradox. When you offer certainty without needing her, she trusts it. And when she trusts it, she opens, not because you asked, but because you didn't have to. We've been told that being emotionally available is the key to modern attraction. That women want a man who opens up, expresses vulnerability, and shares everything. But what I found is this. Emotional availability without leadership feels weak. What women truly respond to is emotional leadership. A man who can feel but doesn't collapse under what he feels. A man who can hold space for her emotions and his own without losing composure. Emotional leadership isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about knowing when and how to express them. Most men either go cold or overshare, but the Stoic man navigates the middle. He's present without being needy, he listens without trying to fix, and when he speaks about his own emotions, it's with clarity, not chaos. That balance creates deep respect because she doesn't feel like she has to lead for him. She can trust that he's already leading himself. During the 3 months I studied this, it became obvious when a woman feels like she's emotionally stronger than the man she's with, desire fades, even if she still loves him. What reignites that desire isn't more openness, it's grounded presence. It's when she looks at him in a hard moment and sees a man who doesn't panic, doesn't blame, doesn't unravel. That quiet, anchored energy, that's emotional leadership. And it's far more magnetic than simply being open. Desire and dependence might look similar from the outside, but women feel the difference instantly. Desire is energy, it's clear, masculine, confident interest. Dependence, on the other hand, is pressure. It's a man needing her to feel whole, needing her reaction to feel worthy. And the moment she senses that, the polarity dies. What I found over and over in my research was simple. Women want to be wanted, not needed. Most men blur the line between connection and attachment. They believe closeness means full emotional access, constant communication, or being available on demand. But that behavior slowly turns desire into burden. The woman feels less like a partner and more like an emotional caretaker. Meanwhile, the man, believing he's being devoted, loses her respect one small reaction at a time. The men who stood out to women weren't cold, they were centered. They showed affection but never lost their frame. They pursued but didn't chase, they cared but didn't cling. That subtle difference created space for the woman to come forward, not because she was asked, but because she wanted to. And that's the truth most won't say out loud. The moment she feels you're okay without her is often the moment she wants in the most, not because you played a game, but because you stopped trying to win one. Charisma gets attention, confidence holds it. But not just any confidence, silent confidence. The kind that doesn't need to announce itself, doesn't dominate conversations, and doesn't rely on constant validation. During my research, the men women remembered most weren't always the funniest, flashiest, or most outgoing. They were the ones who moved with quiet certainty. No performance, no noise, just presence. Silent confidence communicates something deeper. I know who I am. I don't need to be liked to stand here. That energy is rare, especially in a world full of men constantly proving themselves through stories, jokes, or over-explaining. The Stoic man doesn't chase a moment. He contains it. He listens more than he speaks. And when he does speak, it's intentional, controlled, direct. That calm delivery makes his words land harder than any loud personality ever could. Here's what women consistently said. I felt safe around him, but I also wanted to impress him. That's the impact of silent confidence. It flips the dynamic. You're not performing for her. She starts performing for you, not out of pressure, but out of curiosity. She wants to know what you think, what you notice, what matters to you. And because you don't give that attention freely, it becomes valuable. More valuable, in fact, than charisma ever could. There's one trait women respond to consistently but rarely articulate. Emotional authority. Not control over them, but control over yourself. During my research, this pattern showed up everywhere. In relationships, in early attraction, even in long-term dynamics. Women are drawn to men who move with a quiet command of themselves. Not because they dominate, but because they don't need to be dominated by anything. Not by their emotions, not by external pressure, and especially not by the woman in front of them. Here's what makes it powerful. It's subtle. You won't hear them say, he's in control of his frame. But you'll hear things like, there's just something about him. What they're feeling is your ability to hold tension without reacting, to hear something uncomfortable and not flinch, to remain calm while others scramble. That stillness creates emotional safety, not because you're soft, but because you're solid. It makes her feel like she can express herself fully without needing to lead the moment emotionally. What women can't always explain but always feel is when a man is unmoved. Not emotionally absent, but emotionally stable. He doesn't overpromise, he doesn't over-apologize, and he doesn't get pulled out of his values just to keep her close. That man is rare. He's not trying to be perfect. He's just centered. And once she feels that energy, even once, it stays with her. Because it's not what he said, it's what he didn't have to say. After 3 months of listening, observing, and cutting through the noise, one truth stood out above everything else. Women don't want the loudest man, the richest man, or even the most romantic one. They want the man who knows who he is and doesn't waver. A man who can lead emotionally, remain still under pressure, and make her feel something most can't even name: grounded safety. What they're drawn to is subtle, rare, felt more than spoken. It's the man who doesn't overextend himself to be chosen, because he's already chosen his path. It's the man who gives attention with intent, not desperation. And it's the man whose presence lingers not because of what he gave, but because of what he didn't need. If this opened your perspective or challenged what you thought you knew, drop the word valor in the comments. At Valorous, we're not here to guess what works. We study it, live it, and sharpen it. Keep your energy clean, keep your presence sharp, and remember, the rarest man isn't loud, he's just undeniably there.